días a todas las personas que están conectadas a través de la página web de Colfuturo. Mi nombre es Camila Flores, soy parte del equipo de Consejería Académica y Relaciones Internacionales y hoy tenemos un webinar con The School of Visual Arts. Hoy nos acompaña Steven Henry Madoff, quien va a hacer la presentación, y la idea es que durante esta sesión ustedes puedan hacer todas las preguntas que les surja acerca de esta escuela. En el lado derecho de sus pantallas pueden encontrar el chat. Steven, you can now start the presentation. Thank you for being here.
Okay. I don't see anyone. Should I be able to see anything?
No, they're connected in another webpage.
Okay, okay. So I'm Steven Madoff. I run the master's program in curating at the School of Visual Arts in New York. And I'll just talk to you a little bit about the program. It's a 2-year master's degree. We're located in New York City, very close to where all of the galleries are in New York and Chelsea. The program is a professional practice program, a training program. Over the 2 years, students have what are called case study seminars, which are specialized 7-week courses in specific forms of curating, for example, curating film and video, curating new media, curating performance, conventional exhibition making, along with exhibition history, art history, writing workshops, what we call professional practice workshops that include special sessions on lighting design, exhibition design, grant writing, etc. All of these programs, as I say, are toward training students so that when they leave the program after 2 years, they can say that they know all of the fundamentals to immediately go to work in any professional environment as a curator, whether it's a museum or an alternative space or a corporate collection, a private collection. Students in the program during the 2 years make 3 exhibitions, one in our space here, where you design the show, you select the artists, you have to write wall texts, wall labels, press releases, install the show, deinstall the show, light the show, etc. In other words, all the steps that you make as a standard curator within an institution, or of course as an independent curator. The program during the summer between the first and second years include an internship and include a special trip. So we have a special grant. We fly all of the students of the first year to an international biennial. For example, this year, we will take the students to Berlin for the Berlin Biennial. Next year, we will take the students to the Venice Biennale. That grant means that we are able to give each student a free round-trip ticket to Berlin or to Venice during that biennial experience, which typically lasts 4 or 5 days. The students will meet with international curators of that biennial, as well as well-known curators who are there for the opening of the exhibition, for critiques of the show to understand putting together a major exhibition like the Venice Biennale or the Berlin Biennial. That trip is followed by a minimum of 2 months in an international internship where each student is placed in a major institution somewhere in the world, and those institutions have ranged from Singapore to, in fact, Bogota, to Beijing, to Germany and Berlin, to France, etc. So we place each student with a specific institution, with a specific curator, who will be their mentor, who will oversee them during those months in the summer, where they get to experience everything that happens curatorially within the institution, curatorial meetings, planning meetings for exhibitions, doing research on artists for exhibitions, learning about what the registrar does, et cetera, all the professional components of the museum for a curator. After those 2 months, the students have had further training, a kind of training that, of course, you can't get in a classroom. And then you're back for your second year, during which there are further classes of the kind I've already mentioned, case studies, writing workshops, and something that I haven't mentioned yet called the Curatorial Roundtable, which is also quite unique in that each week, in fact, I oversee this myself, a curator from somewhere in the world comes to the program and speaks with the students for 2 hours about their approach, their practice, showing images of their exhibitions. And the students get a chance, of course, to learn, therefore, from a total of 60 curators. That's 15 curators each semester about what they do, how they go about doing that. It's a kind of experience that you couldn't possibly get otherwise. As well, with the visit of each curator, the students have a short biography of that curator plus their email address, so that the students can reach out to that curator and therefore build their own professional network over those 2 years with, again, up to 60 curators from all over the world. So that's a quite unique experience. At the end of the first year of the program, by the way, we have the first year students make an exhibition together in a large industrial space in Brooklyn, New York, so that they learn to work as a team. And then at the end of the second year, the students make a third exhibition, which is their own exhibition, to graduate. That's called the final or thesis exhibition, where the students also write a catalog essay, and they are trained to write that catalog essay under the supervision of the former editorial director of the Museum of Modern Art in New York. So one of the great experts in overseeing catalogs and editing catalog essays. So it's a very rich, very full experience. The classes start typically at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. so that students have most of the day to be in museums, to be in galleries, to be making studio visits with artists in New York. There are typically no classes on Friday, so you have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, again, to immerse yourself in the immensely rich New York art scene, where literally 15 minutes walk from our space are the Chelsea galleries, over 300 art galleries in Chelsea, as well as the Whitney Museum. You're 20 minutes away from the Museum of Modern Art, 20 minutes away from the New Museum. The Metropolitan Museum is uptown, the Guggenheim Museum is uptown, so that's the way it works. For foreign students, you can work on campus during your first year, and starting in your second year, you can work anywhere you want. So many students take part-time jobs in galleries. Some students decide to do a second internship at one of the major New York museums. We prefer that students do not do their internship during the first summer in New York, because you can do it in the second year. And since we're giving you a free plane ticket to Europe, we try to place people in Europe. Though some students, again, as I mentioned, have done their internships in China, they do them in Singapore, they've done them in the Arab world, in Sharjah, for example, with the Sharjah Biennial. So there are many, many, many opportunities to do these internships, again, all over the world. The program is, by Colombian standards, quite expensive. It costs about 79,000 US dollars, plus, of course, you have to live in New York. There are currently a couple of different possibilities in terms of sponsorship. Colfuturo, of course, is the main possibility of that hybrid kind of loan with the possibility that you don't have to pay back all of it. Then if you are in Bogota, IGATES has been offering scholarships of the equivalent of 10,000 US dollars for the first year of the program, which our program matches. So that's a total of $20,000. You can work, as I say, at the school up to 20 hours a week at 15 US dollars an hour. So that can also discount the total cost of the program. We can give a second year scholarship of about $10,000. So that would be $30,000 plus work that you could do. So you can see there are ways of considerably cutting down the expense. If you also are lucky enough to get a Colfuturo loan, then you can cover the costs of being here, of course, and then on top of that, you would have to pay back some of the money upon graduation, but you would be able to certainly afford being here. So those are the possibilities as far as financing the program goes. And that really is a kind of rundown of the program. The other things that are part of the program are, because we have students from all over the world, we have a preliminary program where you work with a faculty member reading approximately 30 texts that are standard texts in art history and curatorial history, so that all the students from all over the world have a kind of equal vocabulary when you start the program. That course takes place typically in the first 2 weeks of the program. And on top of that, we have programming, as I mentioned, every student is making exhibitions. So typically every other week there is an exhibition. And then on top of that, there is programming. So we do special panel discussions or talks given by curators. Each year we also have an international residency where a celebrated curator from somewhere in the world comes for a week and gives special seminars to the students about their form of curating, and they give a public talk. So on top of those 60 curators from around the world, there are other curators who are guests for these panel discussions or this international residency. And in this way, we feel that we're very well preparing the students. You learn all the physical kind of practical training in doing exhibitions. There is art history, there is exhibition history, as I mentioned. There are theory courses in the program, because of course all curators today are fluent in theories about different aspects of art and society. So we make sure that students have a kind of understanding of what the current theories are, so that when you are speaking with professional curators or applying for a job at the end of the program, you're able to speak in the ways that are most current for the profession. So I think that is a full explanation of what we do. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, we will now proceed to ask some questions. The first one is, could you talk about the requirements to apply to any of your programs?
Yes. So it's a pretty simple application, really. You are asked to write, why you want to be in the program. It's called statement of intent. So that's simply, what interests you about curating? Why have you decided to follow this 2-year program? Is there a specific reason why you want to come to our program? Then you have to also propose an exhibition. So we ask you to think in a creative way about, well, what is an exhibition that you would like to curate? What's the idea for that exhibition? Where would you ideally want that exhibition to take place? What is the theme for that exhibition? And a list of artists. Maybe, typically applicants include little pictures of works of art by those artists. That's called the checklist. So it's the statement of intent, it's the exhibition proposal. And by the way, when I say it can be a creative proposal, it can be anywhere in the world. If you have an idea that you would like to do that in your local museum in Medellin or in Bogota, that's fine, but it could be at the Museum of Modern Art or the Louvre, wherever you want, or it could be in your house. It doesn't matter. What we want to get a sense of is what's your creative thinking about an exhibition. Then you have to include from your university or transcripts for your undergraduate degree. You need 3 recommendations. Typically, those recommendations are either from somebody who taught you as an undergraduate, or maybe if you've worked, after graduation in an institution, in a museum or a gallery, then you might ask, the person who was your boss to write you a letter of recommendation. It's just 3 letters of recommendation. And then the final thing is financially, our school wants to know, well, can you afford it? So you need to show that you can afford the program, etc. It's all quite simple. You can go to the website for the program, and there is the application form. So, and in fact, we've waived the fee, so there's no fee to apply. You don't have to pay any money to apply to the program. We've already begun applications. We have many applications in already. So if you're interested in applying for this coming September, then this is the time to start your application if you can. You can always reach me or the school through our website and ask any questions you want about the program. I should say about our program that it's expensive. It's 2 years of your life. On the other hand, if you are interested in coming to the United States for this degree, our program, as expensive as it is the least expensive of the American programs. Other programs that are great programs in London, for example, at the Royal College of Art or Goldsmiths, are either as expensive as our program or nearly as expensive at this point. So unfortunately, if you want to earn this degree towards your professional future, that's what it costs these days. Is there another question?
Thank you for clarifying that information. And yes, we do have 2 more questions. The other one is, do you have any deadlines to apply if you want to start studying on September?
So as I mentioned, the first applications were due a few weeks ago on January 15th, but we are, it's called rolling admissions. So that means that you can keep applying later than January 15th. So as I say, we're still accepting applications, and you should start your application as soon as possible. What is the next question?
And the last question is by Juliana, and she's asking, the exhibition proposal is just for giving an idea of our creativity, or is it intended to get done, like to actually happen?
That's a good question. No, it's not to actually do it, although, it depends what it is. You could, for example, make that proposal and be proposing it for your local institution or another institution. But then, since you have that idea, since you have to make an exhibition in our space during the first year, you might adapt that idea and change it, but still have that same original idea for your exhibition here. And again, don't forget that there's a group, the group of the students together make an exhibition. At the end of the first year, you might propose your idea for them. And then at the end of the second year, you do another exhibition. So you might think of that idea again. But of course, over 2 years, you'll be hearing from so many curators. You'll be taking so many classes giving you new thinking and new ideas, as well as seeing shows all the time in New York, as well as going overseas to see a major biennial, that you'll have many, many ideas. So this is just the first idea that you need to propose to us. I should also add, by the way, that for each of these shows, our department subsidizes those shows. So we give you $1,000. That's not part of your tuition. You're not paying for it. We give you $1,000 towards each of these exhibitions. Other programs, for example, in London, I know, and Bard's program, which is another major program that's located about 2 hours away from New York City, they charge you to make an exhibition, and you only get to make one show there. While here, we give you money toward making each exhibition, and you get to make 3 exhibitions. So we consider that a much better opportunity.
That's amazing, Stephen. Thank you so much for your presentation and for answering all of the questions. We will now end this webinar, so thank you so much for being here.
Great, thank you. Thank you to everybody. And don't forget, please send us an email if you have any other questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.